Hey everybody, Scoutcrafty here again. Midweek Wednesday. Couple things to talk about today. First, we got to get to. I've been soaking Bob's wrench in vinegar for a while, so we'll take that out and clean it up a little bit. And then also we have a polish to review. I picked up on Amazon. Never tried it before. Didn't hear about it, but the reviews were real good, so I thought I'd give it a shot, and we'll check that out and see what else we got going. So let's get to it. Okay, here we are, a 36-hour dunk in vinegar. I scrubbed it down just once with the wire brush. Got off most of the orangey rust and stuff. Now what we're going to do is we're going to disassemble a wrench, and then taking the screw out, take it apart, and then we'll give it a wire brush. Okay, now this screw was frozen in there. I mean really frozen, and so much so that it almost was starting to twist off the top there. Again, important to have a really good tip that fits good, not a lot of play. If it's not budging and you feel like it's going to twist itself out like it started to there, stop and then apply more heat. Let the heat sink through, and a little bit of the 50-50 acetone and transmission fluid. And then when you get a little bit of movement like we have here, we got a little bit of movement, and you'll see that movement? Okay, so now you're golden. Once you have that movement, just work it back and forth, and a little bit of 50-50 acetone and automatic transmission fluid, work it back and forth, and then that'll come out. Okay, as expected, everything's coming out nice. Look how nice the thumb wheel is, perfect condition. What I found funny is look at the wear on the pin. You know, you never know how much work a wrench is done until you start looking at some of the components and see. But you know that the teeth are all good, none are chipped or broken, obviously. And it's so funny because you could see here through hand wear and stuff, it took off some of this. To see that forging mark, that forging flange, so to speak, right here. You know, through years of handwork, you know, it took it off down here. But, you know, again, these were cheap wrenches. They were made to just zip in and out. Bing, 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 thrown out. And now here is important. I did, with the round brushes, did the inside here. All the inside is cleaned out. Even the threading here, cleaned out all the threads and everything with the pin. Now I just have to, you know, decide what you want to do. This is the point where you say, do I want to go further with this, or put it back together, lube it up, and put it back to service? Okay, got about 3 hours in this wrench at least, and everything's coming so nice, right? I mean, it's all polished out. Everything is just beautiful, isn't it? Now, what I did, we have a very special friend of the show, Trader Joe. You might know him. Charlie's owner, and Charlie the Wonder Dog, and today's Joe's birthday, so I want to wish him a happy birthday. But what Joe had mentioned, I did one of these one time, and Joe said, boy, I wish there was a way that we could put some kind of a shim or something in there that would stop the rattling, because these wrenches are known to rattle around and stuff. So I made a shim for here out of A-less steel, and turned it up, and listen to this. Now, it's not completely silent, but it's a lot more sound, a lot tighter. And that's Joe, Trader Joe, you could thank for that idea. And a couple things I have to do left on this off-center hole back here. And it ain't gonna fly, so I want to enlarge that hole, but I want to bring it a little bit over too. So that's a little bit more difficult than it looks, because if you try and put a drill in here, it's just going to widen that hole. It'll be off-center. What you want to do is move it over. So I'll show you how we'll do that. And everything's looking nice, huh? Okay, and then we got to go to paint, obviously. So I'm going to have for this operation, we're coming over to the milling machine, and the reason is because we need rigidity. What we're going to do here is, you can see here, we placed a mill and a milling bit, and we're going to try and go into that hole and move the hole, elongate it, so that I can put a regular bit in and enlarge it. So first we have to move that hole over to the other side. Let's do that. Now this operation could easily be performed with a small round file. Now you can see we elongated the hole, and by the way, this is something you should do these operations before you finish polishing up the wrench and everything. This should be done when the wrench is still in poor condition, but I just decided after it was done, I said that hole is bothering me to the offset. So anyway, we elongated it, you see. Now we can widen it, and we're going to use this step drill, and it's nothing more than Typical step drill here. And now, because this is pretty hard work for a step drill, we're just going to take it nice and easy, a lot of lubrication, and feed it very slow. Now I do believe this is a much better looking hole. And now what we're going to do, we're going to scrub the wrench down, and I'm going to try a new color that we've never done on the channel before, but I've been itching to try. I hope it works out, and let's get to it. We're going to have to scrub this wrench down with Comet, and then do base coat. Here we have the base coat, and that is a, I used a Krylon Gold Leaf. You can see here, there's the number, and dries very quickly. We're going to put it on the furnace, let it really dry good, and then hit it with some red. Okay, now as the paint is curing on the furnace, we're going to go to polishing a little bit. And before we do, I want to talk a little bit about polish. So let's get to it. Okay, real quick. There are over 100 different types of polishes. And a polish is nothing more than an abrasive grit that is floating in a medium of some sort. There's all different types of medium. There's paste, which will come in a tube or a can. There's liquid, and there's bar. You could put it in that buffing bar that we have. It's whatever it is. It's the abrasive that's floating in a medium. That's all polish is. Now, polish is meant just like sandpaper. The only difference is with sandpaper, it tells you what grit it is on the back. With these polishes, it's hard to tell what they are. Some are more fine than others. Obviously, a plastic polish is going to be a little bit more fine than a polish that's meant for chrome or something like that. That's a little harder. They're trying to get through rust or whatever. But it's all basically the same thing. The only thing that differs is the abrasive. Now, to use a polish, all you have to do is simply take a little bit and put it onto a damp cloth or something like that, and then take it onto the metal and rub it back and forth. And again, the polish has an abrasive in it, and by doing that, what happens is it's just like if you were sanding it down. Now, if you look at here, you always see that the polish will bring up some of the material that you're polishing. That's because that's what polish does. Not to be confused with a wax, because a wax just covers up the area and protects it. A polish is what gives you the shine. So now, if you see that black, don't let it worry you, because that black also helps polish. It's part of the polishing process. Once you get it down to you feel like you have somewhat of a shine, turn the rag and start again, and that'll wipe off some of the excess, and then you buff this off with a dry cloth, and you'll see the shine underneath. Now you can see here, this is just a piece of normal conduit, and you can see over here where we polished it up. You see the nice little polish that it brought up here, just using the polish by itself. If you wanted to speed up that process, you can use a additional abrasive, like a piece of Scotch-Brite, put the polish on here, wipe it down. Now, just the Scotch-Brite alone will give it a luster, not really a shine, but if you add the two, it'll cut your time in half. But what happens is, like I said, you always have to go to the finer polish to get even a better shine, because the finer the polish, the smoother the surface and the more mirror-like it'll be. What I'm going to try today is I just picked up this called Peak. And because it was inexpensive for the amount of polish that you get, and this is the way it comes. It comes with these clips when they're shipping it. So I'm going to open this up, and we're going to try it on this piece. Now, this is a piece of aluminum. I just did a little Scotch-Brite on here to get off some of the oxidation, but you can see there's no real polish. That's called a luster. We're going to try and bring it to a polish using this Peak. Okay, we wiped it off, and you can see here it did bring it down to see, that's almost a mirror finish. Again, you're not going to get, there are still scratches because the polish doesn't take out only the minute scratches. If I wanted this to be a real mirror finish, I'd have to take out all these scratches, but you can see it did a nice job. It does have a lot of abrasive to it, but not so much that it'll scratch. This is the consistency of it. It looks almost creamish, so nice polish. I'll just throw that in with the collection and try it out on some different metals, but right now on aluminum it seems to do a decent job. Now, getting back to Bob's wrench, you know my favorite part. Remember what this wrench looked like before we started. And we're calling this wrench done. You know, it's so hard to get the right lighting just to show this color. It's such an awesome color, and I'm trying to show. Can you see the gold coming through the red? It is really a pretty color. I did both sides in that, and you could see here. There's the lettering, but it has a different look than the candy. Can you see that? Has a much different look than the candy silver when you go over silver. And I first saw this years ago at a car show, and I was captivated by it. So it's gold leaf with a clear red. I wanted to try gold leaf with some others like blue or thing. I'm sure that would come up with some different colors. Like blue over gold leaf would probably come out like a green, an iridescent green. But it's beautiful color, and the wrench came out real nice. Everything's as we always do it here, polished out, nice and smooth, super quiet with that shim, that Trader Joe shim in there, and everything's just nice. The back, as always, my favorite, and the hole came out real good. This was a fun project, Bob. I hope you like it. Looks a lot different than it was before, but this is, you know, I just love painting these wrenches up. I just have a blast with it. So in closing, let me know what you think of that color. If you notice any difference between the Candy Apple Silver and the Candy Apple Gold. It's very hard to show up on these iPhones. The colors get kind of screwy, especially with the lights. And Bob, thank you so much again. And thank you all for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take care now. Bye-bye.